I felt in very first person the rat race syndrome.
Yeah.
And how can I make money not such important in my life, not so critical. Let me study a bit and I'll be back. Suddenly, I was a teacher. I was teaching everyone about trading, about my discoveries, about my experiences, and it started to grow organically, but very fast. Rat race feeling was just the trigger, the starting point, the realization of this is not working. I had to do something different to get different results.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the What It Takes podcast. I'm joined today by Uxio, who is the founder of Material Bitcoin. A really cool concept. It's essentially a way to store your Bitcoins physically. We've all had, and I know you, Uxio, had some issues with getting your stuff stolen. So this is a really cool concept. And I'm very excited to talk to you today about your journey and how you actually ended up starting Material Bitcoin. But first of all, huge welcome to you, my friend. How you doing?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Darren. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for everything. Honored to be here with you.
Man.
Thank you.
It's really exciting. So talk to me a little bit about what is Material Bitcoin in your own words. What do you do today?
Okay, Material Bitcoin is way more simple than most people think. It's just this steel plate, It's a very simple, cold Bitcoin wallet, okay? And it's for non-geek people. This has no electronic components, so it cannot get hacked. And also it's fireproof, flood-proof, shock-proof, dogs-proof, kids-proof, whatever proof you want, It's for my father, for my sister, people who don't care about technology. So you put some Bitcoin on it, just scanning this QR code, very simple, and maybe just forget about it for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It will be fully compatible with Bitcoin forever because it's native Bitcoin. And it doesn't depend on any specific software, or even if this company would disappear, this would be 100% be fully working in 10 years from now, or 20 or 30 or whatever, It's designed to last 200 years. So we give a lifetime warranty for this.
Very so you can even pass it down in generations then, right?
Yeah, that's the point, actually. That's the point. Our most typical customer are parents, fathers and mothers who want to make some piggy bank for their children, a little account with some Bitcoin so it can grow over the time and make some wealth.
So this really is almost like an investment for people. When they buy this, they buy this and they store it, right?
Yes.
Are you able to add to it later? So let's say you buy 0.1 Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, you know what, I want to add an extra 10%, so I want to add another 0.1 Bitcoin to it. Is that possible?
Yeah, for sure. Probably you have that Bitcoin in an exchange in your mobile phone. So once again, you scan this QR code and you send it to here in just a matter of seconds or minutes. So it's very easy. It's like a piece of gold. You treat it like a piece of gold in the sense that you buy it, you don't tell anyone, you hide it, you keep it. As long as you keep it with you, the money is with you, right?
Right, yeah.
And then you can put money whenever you want. You can take money out using the back whenever you want. But it's for long-term storage. It's not for everyday usage, everyday trading or something like that. No, this is just to keep your value for a long time.
And what are some of the, key benefits? Like investing in Bitcoin today, right? It's a big thing. Is there a huge benefit that you've seen today as opposed to before? Like, what are some key selling points to this particular product? You mentioned that you can keep it for a long time. It's an investment. But, if I'm a customer, I'm a parent, why should I buy it?
Well, actually, maybe 95% of people are non-geek people. Almost every product on the market now is designed for freak people, very technological people, very enthusiastic people about computers or blockchain or technology, and it requires quite a deep knowledge about it. But most people should own some Bitcoin, but only a few can afford going through the learning curve. So this is for non-geek people too.
Right.
Okay, geek people can use it, but non-geek people can use it too. So that is our main differentiator.
Very
Of course,
easy to use.
it's unhackable, it's fireproof, it's shockproof, and all that. Okay, very few wallets also can stand for that. But the key point about this is that it's suitable for my grandma.
Yeah. That's awesome, actually. And Bitcoin today is around, what is it, $100,000, maybe 105,000?
Yeah, more or less.
Where do you see Bitcoin going in the future?
Okay, look, the supply of Bitcoin is fixed. If you want to get some Bitcoin, you have to buy it to anyone. You can, central banks make money out of thin air, like creating debt for countries and everything like that. And there is inflation, but with Bitcoin, there is no inflation. You cannot print any more Bitcoin. So as long as fiat money, as euros, dollars, British pounds, everything, get inflated, get devaluated over time, Bitcoin has to appreciate, has to grow up in value. Not because it grows up in value, but because its reference on dollars, on euros, on whatever, go down in value. So it will get higher and higher and higher only by the movements of the central banks. But on the other hand, every single day, bigger percentage of people worldwide are using Bitcoin, are buying Bitcoin because it's useful for savings. So if the supply is fixed and the demand is growing, price only can go up. Okay, on the short term, there is volatility. It can go up, it can go down. But on the long term, if you look at the chart of Bitcoin, you can see it's like this, And knowing the background of this, there is no chance it won't be any other way. So where do I see Bitcoin in a few years from now? $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $100 million, because there is no escape to be any other way.
So even at the price point that Bitcoin is at today, it's still a good investment. I'm really excited to talk more about this, but I want to go back and focus a little bit about your background. So, I mean, obviously you didn't always have material Bitcoin. This wasn't always your focus.
No.
And this is obviously also an entrepreneurial journey. And from our first conversation, you mentioned that you used to have a job. I mean, you went to school, had a job, right? Traditional path, but and some stuff happened there. But let's go back to your early years. What was that like for you? Where did you grow up? What was your early life like?
Okay, I was a very good boy,
Yeah.
I tried to study hard. I wanted to take good grades. I wanted, to make things easier for me. But over the years, I started feeling that something was wrong with my life, with my career, with whatever it's supposed to be. It wasn't happening. I wasn't getting more freedom or any sense of life control.
Yeah.
And I was working in a chemical plant in 2008. I was driving to this plant. I was an engineer back then. Well, actually, I'm still an engineer, right? But I was working as an engineer back then. And I had a car crash, a little car crash. But suddenly, I had no car to do the commute. I had no car, and I had to spend all the money I've saved the previous 2 years to buy a car, so I could be able to commute again, to go to work, to earn some money, to maybe spend it in another car in a few years. So I felt in very first person the rat race syndrome.
Yeah.
And very soon I started to investigate how can I make money not such important in my life, not so critical in my behavior. And I started learning about, businesses, trading, and whatever. Actually, I developed back then a business about teaching trading to other people. It
Okay.
wasn't the first intention, but life.
How did you end up teaching people?
Because I wanted to learn myself.
Uh-huh.
So I built a website. I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about 2009, okay?
Yeah.
No one at Spain knew what trading was.
Uh-huh.
No one. I started writing about it, and some traffic came in. Many people commented on my blog posts and
Mm.
started asking questions about trading. I didn't know the answer, so I answered, I don't know the answer. But let me check, let me study a bit, and I'll be back.
Mm.
So maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks after, I could give the good answer, a good response. So when new questions were coming in, I started to know the
Mm.
response and to know it firsthand and with very good information. So I wrote about it, and suddenly I was a teacher. I was teaching everyone about trading, about my discoveries, about my experiences, about and it started to grow organically, but very fast. And it became one of the most important websites in Spanish about trading.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
yes,
crazy,
yes,
man.
yes.
And did you trade, was it regular stock? What did you trade?
Yeah, I traded mostly stocks,
Uh-huh.
ETFs for the majority of time. I also traded some forex
Mm-hmm.
and later on some futures. Crude
Okay.
oil futures and DAX futures and Bund futures too.
Yes. Okay, so you started trading and this kind of took off at a certain point. What happens next?
A small place, with my team working, teaching worldwide with, lots of content and all that. But suddenly, 2013, I saw a very clear, very easy trade, potential trade in an unknown, chart called Bitcoin. But it was so clear that I could make a profit there that I had to try. So with a
Hmm.
friend, we researched about Bitcoin and how could we buy some Bitcoin and, try to make the profit that was clearly waiting for us. So we did a move. We registered on the blockchain. On that time, it was maybe the only blockchain exchange at the time, which was called MTGOX.
Okay.
MTGOX actually was the Magic the Gathering online exchange forum revamped into a crypto exchange. But it was
Magic the Gathering is a game, right?
yeah, it's a card game. Yeah,
Yeah, I heard about it.
a very geek card game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that time that was happening that way, we bought Bitcoin. Bitcoin went from $200 to $300 in a matter of days, very few
Hmm.
days. I thought I was the best trader ever.
Yeah.
And when I tried to take the money out, the exchange scammed all the users,
Oh, shit.
their own users. They robbed 850,000 bitcoins. It's
Oh,
the
wow.
biggest and the first big Bitcoin scam ever. So I lost the money,
Holy.
Okay, it wasn't that much at that time, but I learned the lesson the hard way. Never leave
Yeah.
your funds in the exchange. Never, no
Uh-huh.
matter what.
Uh-huh.
It happened to me after some time, some year after. It happened to me again, but
Uh,
it wasn't that.
Unlucky, man. You're not more unlucky than the guy. Have you ever heard of that guy who bought like pizzas with like God knows
Yeah,
how much Bitcoin?
but I have an opinion about that. I
Uh-huh.
think that guy spent 10,000 Bitcoin in two pizzas, but he didn't spend the whole Bitcoin he had. I think
Ah,
he's multi millionaire right now,
you think
but
so?
but he don't tells anyone. I think that's the way, because maybe he had 10,000 bitcoins to spare on some pizzas and way more, stored anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He lost all his bitcoins at that
And so you
time.
think you think he had more
Yeah,
than just the 10,000?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he actually were to save, because I feel like, when I talk to a lot of people, it's like if you could say one thing to your past self, like if you could go back 10 years in time
Yeah.
and you could just say something, it's like everyone is just like, buy Bitcoin, dude, buy Bitcoin and hold that shit, you know?
Yeah.
If he would have held today 10,000 times 100,000, what is that? A billion? You'd have $1 billion worth of money today.
Yeah. Cool.
But wishful thinking. So, but anyways, you were essentially robbed twice in the
Yeah.
crypto market. At this point, did you also still have your regular job?
No, 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 no. I left my job at 2012
Okay,
when my trading online academy grew up. And
right.
actually, I wasn't planning to leave my job at that time, but anxiety took place. You
Mm.
know, I could not stand it anymore. So I broke down and I had to leave everything for a few months. And later on, I decided to resign.
Yeah,
I
resign.
decided
Yeah,
to
yeah,
resign. So everything went easier since then.
yes. And was this, you mentioning that this was an anxiety that you got? Was this because of work or was this
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
other life thing?
Because I was handling two jobs. My own
Mm-mm.
was unbearable. Unbearable.
Yeah, and you also mentioned earlier in our conversation that you were aware of that rat race, right? Once your car broke down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah, yeah.
you, was that also this knowledge of this rat race thing, was that also just a part of what made you say, I'm going to resign and a cause of your anxiety?
Okay, the car accident and the rat race feeling was just the trigger,
Mm,
the starting point, the realization of this is not working. I had to do something different to get different results. So that's the time when I started reading and researching and everything to make myself another life.
mm,
And
yeah,
everything came after all that.
yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I was in the same position, right?
Really?
I started to feel uneasy about my work once I started to learn about entrepreneurship and that was a possibility. Because then you gain a new perspective, right? It's like you can work in a company that you're not really passionate about, and you can make a living salary and then save a couple of hundreds or thousands, depending on how much you make per month, and then, whatever you do with that, invest it, and then but then, at some point, you're going to have to buy a house, you're going to have to get mortgages, and you're always 6 months without work from being broke,
Yeah,
right? Like it's just, you're always working to just survive. You're not living and
exactly.
you're not passionate about what you're doing. So that was one of the key things that pushed me over the line to be an entrepreneur. So it's a
Yeah,
little bit similar to yours. But okay, so
yeah,
so you left your job in 2012. You had this academy going. You also started with crypto in 2013. Got scammed,
yeah. Very
right?
badly.
And then you mentioned you got scammed one more time. What happened there?
Yeah, actually, I kept learning a lot about crypto, a lot. And at 2016, I was giving a course about crypto. I gave people paid, the course, some few hundred euros, and I took some of those euros to buy Bitcoin to each participant. So
Mm,
they could learn how to open an account in an exchange, how to create a wallet, how to transfer funds, how to swap currencies, how to create a wallet in Ethereum, how to create a wallet in Monero, how to swap, how to move the money,
mm,
learn firsthand how to use crypto.
right.
And I used an exchange called Cryptopia that at that time was very simple to use, very easy to open an account. So I didn't want my people to get stuck, with bureaucracy or whatever.
Mm,
Okay, a few days or weeks after the course was given,
yeah.
Cryptopia closed its
Way.
website and
Oh,
took the money of everyone. And I had, some money remaining after the course and whatever. I lost it. It wasn't that much, once again. But, once again, don't you leave your funds on the exchange ever,
yeah. Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And that lesson uh, made me think about a device where you can store easily and
Yes.
securely your
Yes.
crypto, um, without the need of leaving the money on the cloud at Matrix, where it can get hacked, stolen, or when where it isn't your money, when it's
Yes.
the money of others who control it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, those lessons surely must have helped you shape the vision for material Bitcoin and what it is that you do today, right?
Yes, absolutely. And also, there was something very important to me. I discovered Bitcoin on 2013. I think,
Mm.
well, at the time, I didn't think myself I was an early bird or whatever. But now I can say I was an early bird.
Mm.
But okay, discovering Bitcoin and learning about Bitcoin 2013, and on 2015 or 2016 or 2017, almost no one of my family, friends, colleagues, or whatever owned Bitcoin. And that's a
Mm.
shame,
Mm.
because I was preaching them,
Yeah.
about the benefits of owning some Bitcoin once and again. And somehow they did let the opportunity escape in front of themselves.
Mm.
So after some time, I realized there is this tech barrier, this learning curve too steep for 95% of the people.
Mm.
So I understood I should help them creating something they could understand, they
Mm.
could forget about.
Mm.
And that's why I developed Material Bitcoin.
Mm.
Actually, I have
And
Material Bitcoin, Material Ether, Material USDT,
mm.
some variations, but Material Bitcoin is, the superstar of the
Mhm.
catalog.
And obviously material Bitcoin today stores the Bitcoin physically. The key selling point obviously is it's proof everything, right? But it's also this long-term investment strategy. What is the difference there between, for example, physical storage versus more, call it secure platforms like, I invest on eToro, for example,
Mhm.
right? Some crypto there, and Binance as well as another.
Yes.
What is the difference between that and what you have?
Okay. It happened many, many, many times, even with finance, that users cannot get the money out, cannot withdraw the
Mm,
funds, because regulations, or some tech shortages, or some funds limitations.
mm,
For some weeks, people cannot take the money out.
mm,
And the reason is because it's their money, not yours. For
yes.
example, when Ukraine and Russia war started, every single Russian lost access to their funds on the main exchanges overnight.
Mm,
Overnight. Still today, they have no access to their funds. On Britain, the government thought Binance was not really transparent or secure. So in summer 2022, British citizens could not access for some weeks their own funds, and it happens all the time. And
right, right.
on
So
the other
it's the
hand,
regulations.
there are big scams like FTX or empty ghosts on the beginning, or many others, where the platforms take the money from the users or just simply get hacked, because there is so much money there, and
Mm,
hackers everywhere want to take that money. So
mm,
it's not secure at all to have your money. And there is one more reason too. When you have Bitcoin stored here physically, this is away from the traditional financial system. It's
yeah.
it's not in the hands of banks, governments, regulators, or whatever. So
Mm,
let's say I have two children now, okay,
mm,
and if I die suddenly today, my kids won't get access to the money in my bank accounts, in my brokerage accounts, or
mm,
wherever is in the traditional finance system. First, the tax part of the government, the IRS or whatever, will come first before my own family. And after that, you have to convince banks, brokers, whatever, that you should be able to access that money. But with this, they only have to take it.
mm,
And it's suddenly it's theirs, not mine. You see? So having a plan B for your financial structure is really important these days with such a, how do you say, such a money control, overwhelming control we have about money nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously after the crash, because when did you start Material Bitcoin? What year was this?
In December 2021 is when
2021.
we opened the company. We created the company after some tests. The development of the product was through 2020 and 2021. We made a big test on summer 2021. It was huge. It was huge. You know, everyone liked the product and many people got interested. On early 2020, we made a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign worldwide, and it was such a huge success too. So we knew we were on the right track. And after that, we just, started the business and started selling everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just think back to 2021 because Bitcoin was it 40,000 then? You know, how much was
Yeah, maybe.
Bitcoin?
Yes.
Around there, right? One of the things you also mentioned though was when it's putting you couldn't send Bitcoin in the card to people. Like what was, because that was a challenge that you had, right? I mean, because I want to go a little bit in terms of challenges that you've had scaling this business, right? And one of the challenges that you mentioned was when you sent it in the post early on. I don't know how this is today, but in the beginning, you weren't allowed to send the cards with Bitcoin inside of them. Was that a thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, nowadays we send this empty and we help customers to buy their Bitcoin and put it in here.
Mm.
Regulation has changed and now you need a license to buy Bitcoin for third parties, right?
Oh,
But
yeah,
in the
yeah.
very beginning, we sell this empty to customers, and as soon as they receive the plate, we could buy for them some money and put it there. So it was, ideal. Very easy for them to own some Bitcoin at their hands very quickly. Now it's a little more complicated, but we can arrange it so they can get Bitcoin very easily.
What are some other challenges that you've had in growing this business?
Regulation was the biggest challenge. Uh,
Yeah.
we operate at Spain. We are a European company, Spanish company, and Spain is famous for its huge load of regulations.
Mm.
Okay, now European regulation has taken on since January 1st,
Mm.
2025. But before, the regulation at Spain banned any sort of marketing advertisement about Bitcoin or crypto, whatever. It was forbidden. Actually, it wasn't forbidden, but really it was.
Very restricted.
Yeah, very restrictive, very slow. You have to put banners as this was, the worst ever.
Yeah, yeah,
So now it's starting to get easier, a little easier again.
yeah,
But regulations has always been the biggest stopper for us.
yeah. And what about wins for you? Like, what were some big wins in growing Material Bitcoin? I mean, what achievements were you proud of as you grew the company?
Actually, the big win is the satisfaction of our customers. We
Mm.
get lots of feedback of happy customers worldwide, worldwide.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's the
awesome,
very,
dude.
very, very best. We try to talk to our customers as much as we can, and we ask them how they use it, if they find any trouble or whatever. They are happy. Once they buy once, they buy more for their children, for their friends, and I think that's the big wins. We have also a very, dark time with the bear market. We started operating basically on 2022, which was the beginning of a big bear market for crypto. So no one wanted to hear anything about Bitcoin or crypto or whatever. Even at 2023, when Bitcoin was, roaring, people, was skeptical. They didn't trust it much. And now, at the end of 2024, we can feel that the market is ready again for some crypto and some Bitcoin and whatever.
What is causing these fluctuations in the market? I mean, there was a distrust. How come?
No. It's market cycles. It happens the same, absolutely the same, in commodities, in stock market, in bonds market. It's everywhere. It happens all the time. Markets are cycles. It's okay. It's perfect. But for entrepreneurship, for a startup, it's not the best to start
It's
your
tough.
business. With a very big bear market. But
Yeah.
after a time, it goes away.
And what are your views then on other cryptos like Ethereum and some of the smaller, call them meme coins, right? I mean, I spent some time on X,
Yeah.
and very often I see, like Elon, for example, is talking about, is it Dogecoin,
Yeah.
something like that? Like, what are your views on these coins?
Okay. First of all, I think here it's Bitcoin, here it's Ethereum, and way, way below all that are all other rest of stuff. Okay, my favorite crypto actually is not Bitcoin, it's Monero, but it's because it's
Monero.
fully, yeah, Monero, because it's a true crypto. It's really anonymous and efficient, and okay, it has lots of things, but the real one is Bitcoin because there is no one on top of that. There is no company. It's completely decentralized. It's worldwide now. So I think Bitcoin is the real crypto. Ethereum and Solana and many others are very, very good projects with useful features on them. So you can maybe invest long term on them, but it's not the same as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is for wealth protection and investing and everything. The others are like, investing into Oracle, for example,
To
or
Oracle?
Oracle or
Mm,
Meta, or that's some technological investment. And on the other hand, there are all these meme coins like Doge or even Trump,
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. But that's just pure gambling. You can do whatever you want, but it's a whole different story. That's just entertainment.
Yeah.
You cannot put a big amount of money on that crypto and expect to be profitable. It's just a matter of luck, and there is no real value below meme coins.
How does it work though? I mean, how does meme coin go up in value? How does that work?
Once again, supply and demand. If
Supply and
more
demand.
people want to
Yeah.
buy, the price goes up. Though, what drives supply in that case? On the case of meme coins, just an internet fad. That just
Mm,
it's hype or it's a trend, but there is
yeah.
no real value behind that.
Mm,
Just more people wanted to buy that stuff, but
mm.
it's nothing.
And I mean, I see this all the time, right? But these meme coins, they get started and then they get rugged, right? So essentially, you have a meme coin where you have some huge holders, and then all of a sudden people, start buying, and then all of a sudden it crashes in a day or less, right? And people lose their money. How does that work when that happens? Is that, like I said, when people buy a lot and they sell it, like a huge holder, or how does something get rugged?
Well, actually, if it has no value, it's just a matter of supply and demand based on nothing, based on money put or taken out of the table.
Yeah.
So you can control that market if it's thin enough. Thin in a market means there is no such an amount of big money in there, right? So it's like a organized scam. I mean, you put some money on it, you make it grow up, you make many people to watch it, so people feels greedy and put some money on it, expecting some a new fool will come in and put some money so you can get out. But there are teams of people that do this once and again professionally. But I think it's a big scam anyway.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why so many people fall in this trap. Okay, it happened in 2016, but we are on 2025 now. Okay, you've seen it happen, 10,000 times. Why repeating it? But, there are people who understand the structure below that and can be one step before the mass, so they can profit this stupid cycle. But anyway, there is no real value behind that. And unless you are a professional, you should avoid all that.
You were also talking about some of the other cryptos. I mean, you mentioned Solana. They had a few benefits. What benefits do you get from investing in those cryptos?
Okay, you have to be very tech savvy to understand the real value of those projects. I'm not into the details of all those projects because there are, not thousands, not hundreds, but there are dozens of projects that are really worthwhile. And you have to understand really, really deeply what's in there, because you have to know all the market, because maybe one crypto has a very good advantage over this crypto, but not over any other that is, more efficient or quicker or easier for certain tasks. So, Monero, for example, is anonymous. If you know an address, a Bitcoin address or an Ethereum address, you can see what's the balance and all the history of transactions, all the inputs and outputs of that
Right. Okay.
Ethereum account or Bitcoin account. But with Monero, you cannot see nor the balance or not the balance nor the transaction history. For example, there are other cryptos that are way cheaper in transactions or way faster than Bitcoin or than Ethereum. So they grow up.
Yes.
They grow up. So yeah, it depends on what you need to do. But those are technological projects. Know what I mean? They are not currencies.
It's not like I get it. It's more you have to have a good understanding of the tech behind all of these things in order to actually benefit from the benefits, essentially, that they also offer.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin is more, just like a storage for future wealth. Like you store that, you keep it, you don't really touch it, it's there, and you can take it out in the future. And obviously with material Bitcoin, I mean, right now you've had this business now for, you've been operational for a little more than 2, maybe 3 years now. Yeah. What is the growth? Like, where do you see this business going in future years?
Okay, we started from Spain, Spanish market. We are thriving through European market now and the USA. And we opened a subsidiary company at India too, because it's an emerging market at crypto too. So we plan to expand worldwide, but we go one step after the other. We go slowly. We are just a few folks at La Coruña, Spain, and we are doing our best. But this is growing rapidly.
Yeah. So you're taking one step at a time, and then obviously, like with every or any business, really, you're always going to have new challenges coming up. Do you also see that regulations are going to be a challenge for growing the business in the future, or are you sort of past that at this point?
No. Relationship will always be a challenger for the business. For sure.
Just with the physical card?
Yeah, because
how come?
There are side implications with our product. We don't tell everyone, okay, buy Bitcoin, invest in Bitcoin. We don't say that. I think everyone should invest in Bitcoin, but that's another story. We just sell these wallets. But selling this wallet is telling the people you could buy Bitcoin, you could invest in Bitcoin. There is those side effects, legal implications that we have to take care of. So yes.
Marketing wise or?
Yeah, marketing wise, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, mainly, yes.
And what happens if because aren't there any loopholes? I mean, you maybe can't do, I don't know, Google ads or anything like that, but maybe you could do what if you were to, what if I bought the product, right? I'm a customer of Material Bitcoin. I have one of these physical cards, and I, as a customer, say, hey, listen, I love this product. I have a following of 1 million followers on Instagram. I want to talk about this to my followers for, are we able to set up an affiliate deal?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
We can do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, and
We couldn't. We couldn't a few weeks ago or a few months ago, but now we can again.
That recently, huh?
Yeah. First January the 1st. Since January the 1st. Yeah.
Holy. So you weren't able to work with affiliates before that?
Not with influencers, not with people with huge audiences.
Because I mean, like, I would then think, how can I get past those regulations, right? Like if I were in your shoes, how can I market the business in a certain way so that I don't get hit by these regulations? And working with an influencer, or not necessarily, influencer is that word, but an individual who has a huge following and teaches about crypto, right? That person has a warm audience who has taught the people that follow him about crypto. They're an educated market, right? And I think like the challenge that you have right now is, how can you educate people into realizing that Bitcoin is a good investment opportunity?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because the biggest like question that I have when it comes to Bitcoin, and that's why I wanted to ask you earlier on in the conversation, where do you think it's going to go? Because I'm not into the crypto space, right? But I look at Bitcoin today and I'm like, it's 100,000.
Yeah.
It's way too late to get in, right?
No, it's not. I thought the same at 2013. And everyone, every year feels the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
Is now, yeah. And the same is with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And obviously, when it comes to Bitcoin, it can't be touched, right? Like, it's not regulated by the government, which you mentioned.
It's not controlled by the government.
It's not controlled by the government.
Yeah.
And so, because fiat currency, the way I understand it so far is that it's that the US dollar is sort of like, because before it was backed by gold, right? But now it's the US dollar?
No. It's not backed by gold since 1977.
1977.
It's,
that was before, and now the US dollar is the US dollar. Like, they set their own values, isn't that so?
Yeah. Actually, they lose, they burn the value of the dollar every single day. Like they do with the euro or the British pound or the yen or the yuan. Every country does that, Every country injects more money into their own system. So the money that people own is less valuable every single day. Every single day.
And Bitcoin then is a way to keep the money that you have today later. So like if you invest 100,000, or you have 1 Bitcoin today, the value of the Bitcoin is going to go up. You sell it, you get the true reflective value, right?
Yeah. Let's say not a single person in the planet that has not Bitcoin now, owns no Bitcoin, would like to buy Bitcoin tomorrow. Okay. Let's say that everything is freezed, excepting inflation, that is never freezed. Okay. So let's say you have 0.1 Bitcoin, okay, a tenth of a Bitcoin, and with that money you buy a little apartment. Okay, in 20 years from now, the apartment will be perfectly usable. It has a value. The value to protect one person or 2 people, for everyday living. It has a real value. And if no one would move Bitcoin, you could still buy a little apartment with 0.1 Bitcoin. Okay, but now imagine that with dollars. A few years ago, you could buy actually a very little apartment with, let's say, $1,000, right?
Yes.
but you can no longer do that.
Yeah.
It will be very common to see little apartments price tags on millions of dollars very, very soon. And in 30 years, 40 years will be tens of millions. But with Bitcoin, it would be the very same amount.
Right.
Except the percentage of people that are buying Bitcoin worldwide is growing day after day. So you would need way less than 0.1 Bitcoin to buy a little apartment. You see the difference?
I see the difference,
when you put your money from euros or dollars or whatever into Bitcoin, it doesn't matter the prices of food, living, cars, land, whatever goes up, because it goes up in fiat money, but it doesn't go up in Bitcoin money.
Yeah, I see it. The reason I'm asking all these questions is because obviously you're in this field, right? You're sort of like an expert on this. So I wanted to take this opportunity to ask you questions.
Yeah.
One thing that I overlooked a little bit is because I wanted to ask you this as well. And what is the true passion that drives your entrepreneurial spirit? I mean, you spoke about the rat race, you spoke about these things, but what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
Okay, I need to help my people. You know, I need to share what I find valuable in life. If I find something that is truly unique and valuable for the life, I want my brothers, my sisters, my parents, my friends, my clients, my customers, my people to enjoy it too. And usually the way it works, it happened to me, 3 or 4 times in my life. But the way it happens to me is I find something really valuable, really, really valuable. So I start sharing it with my loved ones. And then people start asking me more about it or asking for help about it. Maybe not a close friend or something like that. And sooner or later, I realized I must make a product or a service, a business around it. So that's how I started the trading online school or this product, because I want to help people with something I discovered this is really useful. Which gives you freedom, for example.
Yeah. Is freedom important to you as well?
Whoa, it's the most important for me.
Yeah.
The feeling of freedom. That's why I don't have a 9-to-5 job, or that's why I try to take my money out of the traditional financial system. Not all my money, but a part of my money and all that. I love to be, like today, which is Monday, lunchtime, talking with you. And this is supposed to be work, but I'm enjoying, life. I can see, the sky, and I love this. I love this. I love this. I love the freedom, the feeling of freedom.
I think that's one thing that 90% of the entrepreneurs that I've spoken with, we have in common. Like it's all like so many of the entrepreneurs that I talk to, they love freedom, and I don't know where this is coming from, but I think that freedom right there. I mean, even today, right? I woke up, I had a morning routine, and then I went to the gym. Instead at 8 o'clock. Instead of having to sit on my desk at 8 o'clock,
exactly. Decide, I'm going to the gym.
It's
your decision, and it's valuable for you and for me. I can understand there are many, 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 many other people who don't need that, and it's perfect. It's okay. Even I invite them. They are perfectly fine. Having a fixed schedule or something. But I love, being able to decide, I'm going to the gym. No, I'm not going. No, yes, I'm going.
Yeah. It's that freedom right there. It's like, I'm going to go to the gym at 8, and then, came back, sat down, worked, right? Yeah. Do 3 hours of deep work, and then you have some food, and then you come back to work, and it's like,
yeah, right? And look what I've built.
Yeah. that is that as well, right? Like you're passionate about what you're doing, you're working on something that you believe in, that you're passionate about. And I think that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
It's not that you're working like you, for example, at this factory that you're working at was
Yeah.
sucking your soul, right?
Exactly.
And
It was
and
like in my soul. Yeah,
uh,
you said
it,
the exact words I was feeling right then.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like you just going there every single day, and you don't have that level of excitement to what you're doing, but now you're working on something that you believe in, and I think that as well is just so important for mental health. And that's why I encourage, with the business that I'm doing right now, I always encourage the youth that I work with to do what you love. Focus on that. Focus on some, and obviously be rational and logical about it. I mean, make sure you can provide for yourself, you can have a roof over your head, but like as long as those needs are covered, like you have those basic needs, do something that you believe in and that can be sustainable for you in the long term, right? So obviously
Yeah.
you got to think about the economical aspect, but I would much rather make $500,000 a year than $2 million a year and retain my freedom at 500K as
Yeah.
opposed to
The thing is,
making
you
two.
cannot make 2 million. You cannot make 2 million. I mean, the thing is, you will make more when you are free and do what is what what resonates with you. I
Mhm.
mean, okay, it's somehow scary or frightening to you leave the protection of the established box for you.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you go into the market, when you are on, by yourself, you get your real price tag. You
Mm,
get your real value, and
yes.
the better you do, the more you learn, the more you get.
Yeah.
And okay, usually you started slow and low and down. You pretty quickly go way beyond what you used to make or to get or to
Yeah,
uh, to achieve when you were in the box.
absolutely. Absolutely. If you could tell something to, yourself like 10 years or even 20 years ago, as you were very young, going out of high school, for example, what would you
Yeah.
tell yourself?
Okay, believe in yourself. You don't need to know the full path, what will happen. You don't need to control every aspect in the journey. You don't need to know in advance what will happen. What will happen. You'll make it anyway.
Mm,
Believe in yourself. Trust yourself.
mm,
You
yeah.
are way more resourceful than you think.
I think that advice is also applicable to a lot of others. And so for anyone who wants to invest in Bitcoin today,
Hmm.
what is the safest or best option they can go with?
Okay, it's very simple. The first step is buy a small amount that you can afford to lose. The very first
Mm-hmm.
step, because it's just experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you start with $100, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you buy one of these.
Mm,
So you open an account in an exchange. Maybe it's not the best exchange out there, but it doesn't matter. You take it to here and it's safe. And now you own Bitcoin. So you'll be checking your balance and start learning about the market movements.
mm,
So you are getting into it. So then
mm,
you start to detect good opportunities to put some more money on it
mm.
and start making a little wealth. And that's the simple and safe way to do it. Don't gamble on the next meme coin or whatever and put all your money and the money of your mother. And, that's the silly but usual way to do it. But
Yeah,
you can invest, a very small amount, take it out of the exchange, be in full control, and then leverage on that.
yeah. That's awesome, man. I'll have to look up material Bitcoin, maybe get myself one.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll help you. I'll help you
Yeah,
with the process of buying some Bitcoin and start experimenting with it. I'll help you. We
okay.
can test it each other, and I'll help you.
That's
I'll help
awesome,
you.
man. And Uxio, to wrap it up, where can people find you? Where can they go if they want to learn more about material Bitcoin or if they want to talk to you and reach out to you?
Oh, very easy. Materialbitcoin.com. We have a very great support team, and we have a Telegram group where we chat all the time, 24/7, about crypto, about material, about anything you need related to this world. So very, very easy. Materialbitcoin.com.
Awesome, man. Uxio, I really want to thank you for joining the podcast today, man. It was a real pleasure talking to you, learning more about crypto and what you do, as well as your journey, man. So again, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. All right, man. Hey, have a good day. Take care.